you're still, this is your third year as a head coach. What have you learned, I guess, from this experience that's kind of helped you in maybe that you hadn't encountered before that is new to you?
I don't know if I've encountered anything new. As a player a long time ago, I learned perseverance and willingness to keep fighting no matter what. You go through hard times in life in a lot of different ways, and all that does is make it sweeter when it all turns out the right way. And that happened to me as a player, and it'll happen to me again as a coach.
Now, when you watched the game back, did you see the same level of undiscipline that you thought you watched live on Saturday?
Yeah, absolutely. I saw a lot of selfish and undisciplined decisions and plays. And it's not everybody. Gosh, there's so many guys that I'm proud to be coaching and happy for. We got some warriors on the football team. But I think somebody told me I don't look at stats much, that we're last in the country in penalty yardage. Well, there you go. You can't bust on things and not do your assignment. You can't hit people 4 yards out of bounds. They seem to be happening at terrible times for us. You get an interception and you get a holding call, and you get a drive going and you get a personal foul, and you get a stop on third down and you get a penalty. And I think our guys finally realize, the guys doing it right finally realize that if it's going to get stopped, they can't allow it to exist. And from that standpoint, it's been kind of a watershed moment for us this last game. And I think it's moving in the right direction to get change.
How do you feel, Eric, when you did get thrown in there, and kind of we talk about just the decision to stick with him at the top of the depth chart this week?
Well, I told the guys I'm going to ride with the guys that I know are going to do it the right way, and I trust. There's a lot of guys that we had to work with and help to understand how we want things done and what it takes to be that kind of person, that kind of good teammate. Eric's figured it out, and I wouldn't say it's the case at the beginning, but he's done everything right this fall, everything right. And we're not giving up on anybody, but if there's somebody that we trust to go out there and at least not get us beat, I'm going to let him go out there and have a chance to make plays.
Do you anticipate Mick Stoltenberg back this season anytime?
We'll have to see on Mick. Mick's a warrior too, and he's going to battle. If he can be out there, he will. It's not going to be anytime in the near future, but we'd love to see him have an opportunity to play again.
You had some other guys that were out. So Ferguson, I don't know what his status is for this week. And then you mentioned that in your press conference, JD took a shot. Where are those guys at, JD, Ferguson, those guys?
Yeah, those guys were at practice, full go today.
Are you going to be with Will Honest for an extended period?
Yeah, I think Will's going to have surgery that's going to be season-ending. It's heartbreaking for him. He's one of the guys that cares and works his butt off, and the type of teammate you want on your team. So that's football, and those things happen, but you just hate to see it to happen to anybody that's a good kid on any team at any time.
What kind of injury was it for Will?
Will had ligament damage to his knee.
Just for the 4-game rule, though, it would be beneficial that you can still redshirt a guy like Honus this year.
Yeah, and that's where that rule's good. You know, there's a chance you might have been able to get a medical anyway down the road, but that certainly cleans it up for us.
Speaking of the 4-game, I know this isn't a fun question, but this is the week, presumably, that players might leave. Has anyone indicated that they might do that, or do you feel pretty good about where everybody's at?
No, I haven't got a hint of that. You know, the guys are doing it the right way, and it's the majority of the team. They're playing with their brothers. They're where they want to be, and they're intent on getting this thing right. And I see it out of them and really appreciate what they're doing. And, you know, people can read into a lot of stuff. These guys are fighting, and we're going to keep fighting.
But that's encouraging, right? That, like, you don't have a hint that people are – it hasn't been the start you wanted, or probably what they wanted, but simultaneously everybody's still in the boat.
Oh, yeah. You know, everybody's in the boat. Everybody's working. This thing's going to get right. It's just not happening as quick as they want it to, certainly not as quick as I want it to. But They know we're doing the right things to move in that direction. I know it, and sometimes when you're building a new house, you can't build it on a bad foundation, or you won't have a house very long. And we had some rot and some termites, and we still do, and we got to get all that cleaned out. You can't build a structure on a foundation that's not solid, and you'd like to get that foundation built quickly, and we're working on getting it built as quickly as we can, but there's still work to be done there. And we're certainly not going to be ready to finish the house and put a penthouse in until that's all done.
Scott, last night on your TV show, you said, I think I've got the team's full attention now when we practice on Monday. How would you describe Monday's practice?
Yeah, I talked to him. When we do our warm-up drills, we make every skill guy carry the ball. We make them carry a ball while they're doing active stretch. And we try to strip it out as coaches every day. There was one day earlier this fall we got 17 balls out. So they were working on it, but I don't know how diligently they were working on it until turnovers cost them 2 games. And then all of a sudden they realized that maybe this is important. Didn't matter what we told them because we tried. Sometimes you got to get hit in the face to understand something. Same thing I told them defensively, we do turnover drills every day at the beginning of practice. One of them's tip drill, where somebody tips the ball, you go up in full speed, high point it, make sure you're the first man to the ball. It's been okay, but it hadn't been guys practicing diligently with the intent of, if this error comes up, I'm going to make this play. Sure enough, the play shows up in the game. It happens, the ball's up in the air. If we go get it, it's probably 14-7 us. We don't get it, it's 14-7 them. I think finally they realize we better be not just doing this, but doing this with the intent of being great at it. And it hasn't mattered how much I've tried to tell them or how much coaches have tried to tell them. It's just like having, you guys probably, a lot of you have teenagers and kids. Sometimes you can tell them all you want until they experience it, it doesn't get changed. I can see a change now. I saw some guys practicing hard today that I haven't ever seen practice with that kind of energy. And sometimes you got to go through those moments, but I'm hoping that this beginning of this season is a turning point for this football team.
I know availability will affect it a little bit, but can you have a real feature back in the system, or what do you see as Divine's potential workload?
Sure, I don't think it's ideal to be rolling guys in and out all the time because nobody can get a rhythm. Divine played all game because he practiced the best. We had one guy that was out all week sick, another guy that didn't have a great week of practice. Now those 2 guys had their best practice I've ever seen them have today. But I trust Divine at this point, and Divine's one of the guys he's going to battle every time he's out there. So we need him to keep it up, and we need some guys to follow suit.
It would have been easy for him to look at the type of runner he's been in his career and wonder if he fit this offense. Can you speak to just what he's done to get to the point on the depth chart where he is at this point?
I think Divine's a step faster than he was when we got here. I think he's stronger. I think he's in better shape. Go back to what I said at the beginning of the season, a lot of credit for that goes to Zach Duvall and the changes he's made with the team in that room. Divine's certainly one that I think has made huge strides, and he played like a guy that could be a feature back on Saturday.
How did you like what Tanner Farmer gave you at center with Will Wilson at guard, and how do you play that this week with that mixture of guys?
Well, whoever's playing center has their hands full. They got a nose guard that is a grown man, and we'll see. Hopefully Cole will be ready to go, but it's good to know that there's a guy that can come in and get the job done at that spot. Bo Wilson's a fighter. He's going to give us everything he has, so we feel good about having him in the game, and starting to develop depth like that and guys that can rotate in at certain positions is a good thing.
Scott, what are your overall impressions of Wisconsin at this point?
They're just a really well-coached team. They never beat themselves, which has been the polar opposite of what we've been. You don't see them make any kind of mistakes that will get them beat. They're solid at every position. Obviously good on the front lines on both sides. Defensively got two really good inside backers that make plays everywhere. These games can be frustrating sometimes for teams like ours because if you can't stop them, you can go 8 minutes of clock time and 30 minutes of real time without your offense being on the field. And that's a big challenge for the defense to try to get us the ball back. When I'm watching tape of teams playing them, usually you watch an opponent play a team you're getting ready for, and there's 90, 85, 90, 95 plays. Most teams are getting 55 or 60 against Wisconsin because of how good a job they do managing the clock. So I think Paul's a good coach, good man, and he's got his program where he wants it, and we're ready to go up and give him a battle.
They say, a lot of people say that Wisconsin is what Nebraska used to be. The tradition they built there with Barry, what have you seen from watching from the outside?
Yeah, I don't know if they're what Nebraska used to be. I don't want to get into that. I know they're a good program. I think there's probably some similarities, but that was a long time ago. Paul wasn't there. This is his program, and he's done a great job with it. They're at the top of our half of this league right now, and so that's the team that we need to catch, and we will.
Given the variety of ways you guys use JD, how important is that position just overall, not only for this program, but in college football and in spread offenses in general, having a hybrid guy? And how important is it for you guys to develop somebody behind him so he doesn't have to take all the shots?
Yeah, it's really important for us to continue to develop guys that can be weapons for us. When our offense works the best is when we have 5 skill guys on the field anytime that can make a big play. Until we get there, we're going to have to move guys, Stan and JD and guys around and try to get them in the spot where we can use them. But you can only ride that horse so long. Those guys get tired too. We need to continue to develop that position. It was a good start today. Talked about a couple guys practicing better than I've ever seen them today. A couple of those guys were receivers. But I told them after practice, what took you so long to practice like that? Because that's what it takes. And I think some of them are finally getting it. So hopefully we're taking more steps in the right direction. I've said all along, if we're getting better day by day, inevitably you're going to end up where you want. And we got better today.
Which receivers were those?
I don't want to get into it, talking about individuals too much, but I saw some guys that were practicing in a way that I know is good enough to win us football games.
The perimeter blocking looked like it improved for those guys too. How pleased were you maybe that improvement you saw last week with the guys on the edge?
Yeah, listen, you want to see a mark of a good team, find a team where wide receivers block well, because then 4-yard gains turn into 8 and 8-yard gains turn into 40. If you can throw bubble screens and things to perimeter and make people chase it, you're wearing a team down. Marks of good teams are great special teams play and perimeter blocking. We're not there yet, but we took a step in the right direction Saturday.
I guess this is another individual question, but kind of an interesting story. Cade Warner, just what have you seen from him since you got here that he kind of worked his way to where he had?
Cade's a good teammate. He plays as hard as he can, and he's where he's supposed to be. And some of the changes that you guys are seeing now kind of started last week, and we're going to play the guys we can rely on. Maybe even if they're not as talented as somebody else, if they're a guy we can trust to do the right thing, those guys belong on the field. And the leaders of the team are ready for that now too, because they see that what's gotten them beat 3 times is bad decisions, being in the wrong spot, bad assignments, penalties. I think the team's fed up with it.
As you watch, do you see the weight of just not having a win having an effect on your team? How does that look on Saturdays?
Yeah, I think this thing could have looked totally different this year if we'd have caught some breaks and got a couple early. And I remember saying back then, this team is better, and this team is better than it has been. We're better than we were against Michigan. We're better than we were in spring. I feel like we're light years from where we were in January. But in order to really believe it and start to take the field in a way that you expect to win, you got to experience some success. And it hurts for me, particularly the seniors, that to date they haven't gotten to experience that. When it does come, I'm going to be really happy for them.
Early success, how important is it going to be to keep Wisconsin from getting the big run early on up there?
Yeah, a big run anytime. We got to do a good job on defense. These guys are going to grind it out. This is a tough guy game when you play a team like this. We certainly didn't start out very well in Ann Arbor with a big run early. A lot of times guys aren't in the right spot. Sometimes guys are there and not quite there quick enough or with enough bad intentions to get a play made. We're going to do everything we can to get their mind right so we can get some stops. And if you can keep this team from controlling the clock and grinding out long drives, you have a chance.
Time for a couple more.
Scott, you mentioned the inside linebackers for Wisconsin. Are they as good a group of linebackers as you guys will see this year?
Yeah, I think so. Michigan's were awfully good. The Bush kid was everywhere. We had a few screens set up that should have worked, and he just beat us to the spot, and we didn't block him very well. But again, the best attribute of this team we're playing is they never beat themselves. They're where they're supposed to be. They're sound, and on top of that, they got some good players. So we got our work cut out for us, but I like where we started this week.
Is there any connective tissue on the third down conversions offensively? Anything that you've seen where, like, we can do this one thing better and it'll help everything else?
Well, I need to do a better job, and the coaching staff needs to do a better job of scheming those downs, particularly the short yardage ones. I watched a team today at practice that in my mind finally did things well enough, crisp enough, with enough energy and attention to detail to make them work in games. You want to know when that detail really matters, even more than the rest of the game, is in the red zone and on third down or fourth down. That's when you're going to get zero blitz. That's when you get a lot of guys in the box, and it's a fine line between, no matter what you run, between making it work and not making it work. And I saw guys practicing with the type of attention to their execution today to actually give us a chance to make those work, and we'll continue to try to put them in the best plays we can on those plays.
Coach, when you meet a player, I mean, you obviously watch how they respond. How did some of the players that maybe didn't have as good a week, how did they respond, to I guess, some of the actions that we took?
Yeah, several of those guys that practiced well today are some of the guys that didn't get in the game as much Saturday. It's way too late to have it happening, but I'm glad it's happening. I had 4 captains come into my office yesterday on their day off to talk about what needed to be done to get it fixed. I think the guys get it. And that's all part of building the foundation I talked about. Sometimes it doesn't matter how much the coach says it. If it doesn't come from in the locker room, there's not a lot of power to it. And now we got leaders that are excited to get some of these things changed and fixed. And it's still not going to get fixed overnight, but I think we got guys that are going to hold other people accountable to make sure that the right things are happening.